Every brand tells a story. And they are the storytellers. The Sutradhars. They present a brand with band, baja and barat to you. They are the Brandwalas. She heads one of India's leading car rental and fleet management companies. Sakshi Vij, Managing Director of Carzonrent, an accomplished leader with extensive experience in the mobility industry, she leads strategic initiatives focused on scaling operations, driving business growth, and enhancing service innovation across B2B and B2C segments. Under her leadership, Carzonrent has strengthened its brand positioning by focusing on customer-centric solutions, seamless digital experiences, and sustainability-driven messaging. Sakshi has been instrumental in driving brand strategy, customer engagement, and digital marketing, playing a pivotal role in shaping Carzonrent's brand presence in an increasingly competitive mobility market. She is our Brandwala. You're watching the Brandwalas. I'm Krishnakumar, and we are in conversation with Sakshi Vij, Managing Director, Carzonrent. Sakshi, thank you so much for taking time out to speak to us here on the Brandwalas.
Thank you. Very good being here.
I'm going to begin by asking you a very simple question. Now, you and I are having this conversation today when the car rental business is one of the biggest businesses in the world. This business has become the name of the game, so to speak. And here you are as a company that's that did it 2.5 decades ago, and now continuing to reinvent yourself. So talk to us. What has this journey been like? Building Carzonrent and seeing all the changes that come about.
The journey for us has been 2.5 decades of understanding what works and what doesn't. What is our core as an organization, as a brand? What do we understand? What do we don't understand? We made our mistakes. We've learned through the journey. We started out at a time when nobody was talking about car rentals. Everyone just knew their roadside taxi guy who used to, you step out and you find a taxi, and that's about it. And that's the relationship. Everyone had my taxi guy was like, the regular thing that everyone used to say. And when we started out, what we realized is that we needed to organize this. We needed to organize the experience, and the place where we needed to organize it more and more was the B2B market, and that's what we focused on. Through our journey, we've raised 3 rounds of investments. We got some of the best funds across the country to come in and support us in our journey. We diversified into radio taxi, which was, at a time when nobody was talking about anything other than the Kali Pleli taxi. This was back in 2007-8 is when we diversified. We brought a brand called Easy Cabs. Easy Cabs then grew on. We moved to a lot of cities. Then we saw what was happening with the, 2012-13 is when the cab aggregation companies came in. The policy framework changed in a very big way. There was a lot of turmoil in the industry. So we saw that. That was very interesting. That was a place where we realized that, B2C is something where a lot of action is going to happen, but that industry is going to go through its own set of challenges. That was also the time when we started our leasing business, corporate leasing. We started helping employees of companies to, use cars, that they could purchase through their salaries, etc. Became the third largest player in that market, diversified, exited from that business, had a very successful exit in that market, continued to focus on the B2B market. And I think that has really been the most interesting part of continuously trying, testing, learning, and changing course wherever required. That's been the most interesting part.
Well, I'm curious to know how was it like building a B2C or a consumer brand like Miles?
Oh, very interesting. Miles was something that we started thinking about all through. I think I've been part of this organization now for almost 17, 18 years. And I think from the day that I joined, I was thinking about the idea that when are we going to be able to have the same experience as in the rest of the world, where I step out of an aircraft, get into the airport and find a car rental company at the airport, pick up the keys from them, get in, drive around, and just feel free. I realized at multiple occasions in our journey that we were fairly early in that journey, in that idea for the Indian market. As we moved, I think back in 2016-17 is when we seriously started thinking about Miles as a self-drive but also a car subscription brand. The interesting story about Miles is that when we did start out, we started with about 20 cars in 3 cities, and we were sold out within the first 5-6 hours. And that's when we realized, well, something's changing in this market that we did not predict. We didn't see this, to be this attractive. We then scaled up to a large number of cars. We also then introduced, which we also did across the company, the idea that any car rental that we want to do, we want to focus on acquiring the customer and being a technology provider. And work in the B2B space, because that's where we had more of an advantage to present. Because I think the Indian regular consumer was still getting the taxi, and they were still used to the highways were still developing, all of that was still happening, but the B2B market was still developing a lot more. And that's where I think the journey of Miles has been. We started off catered to a very large number of B2C customers. In fact, one interesting story that I always remember is that we had launched a lot with Tatas when they launched the Nano. We'd launched Tata Nanos as part of our fleet for self-drive. And what that did was that we started getting a lot of people who said the Nano is very well priced, right? Even though the car itself had its own journey in terms of its success or failure, but we launched the Nano at some 9,000 rupees a month. And this was back in 2016-17. And we had one customer who took our car from Noida. He traveled all the way to Kanyakumari and came back, and he took the car for 1 month. And that was his journey. And he documented that journey and gave it back to us. And we said, what did you do? How? Nobody has driven this car so much. He said, you know what? I drove, slept, breathed, washed myself, everything. I just did everything in this car, and it was perfect. And that was really the journey of building a B2C brand for us, which was to say, you know what, people find their own uses. They find their own use cases of what they want to do. There was a girl who wanted to just go to college. And she said, you know what, I want to find a way in which I can go myself. I don't want to take the bus. I don't want to take a taxi. Everything seems out of my reach. We had parents coming in saying that, can we give a car to our child? This is the way we want to give a car to our child. So it was an interesting journey. But again, over time, we focused more on the B2B side, which is where this brand has also found its wings, as I say.
Tell us then, how do you market your brand? Your Carzonrent, your fundamental primary business is catering to corporates and catering to companies. How do you market your brand?
Well, to be honest, the true marketing for us is when a customer talks about us in another meeting. That's true marketing for us. But on a more professional way, it is about the relationships that we build. We today cater to over 2,000 plus organizations across the country. and this is all the major conglomerates that exist, Indian and international and global organizations. Each of these organizations today have over 20,000 employees on an average. And all of these people have at some point of time or the other driven in a Carzonrent vehicle. We also are present at some of the major airports in the country today, which again gives us a lot of visibility. So that's something that we do for sure. But more than that, I think for us it is and more I think for any organization in the services sector, it is the differentiators that you create in the service experience. We understood very early in our journey that we did not want to be an owner of cars. We did not want to be known as the company that owns 10,000 cars or 20,000 cars. We have owned way more cars than that. We wanted to be known as people who own the customer.
Okay.
Right? And that's what we've been doing as well. So we focus on technology, we focus on the experience of the customer, we focus on creating differentiators through the customer's journey, which gives us the right sort of referral or the right conversations about our brand per se.
What is your all-time favorite brand campaign or advertisement or TV ad or anything that that sort of stayed with you?
A TV ad that always comes back, and it's not very old. I mean, probably a little old, is all the Fevicol ads. I think what the ad that they did about the sofa, the last one between that. The Fevicol ad about Thakurayan ka sofa and stuff, which I thought is just such a beautiful depiction of the story of India and the story of how the journey of a piece of furniture. I think that's something that stands out significantly. But I think also in terms of brands, I hugely support and love the idea of what something like an Apple has created, not just because of the product differentiator that they made, but the premium that they're able to charge over the years because of the kind of product that and the legacy that they've created. I think that's something that I thoroughly enjoy. Yeah.
Today, marketing is not just about TV ads and newspaper ads. There's digital marketing, which is now becoming the mainstay. In fact, the marketing mix of companies once upon a time was between traditional and digital. It used to be 30-70 or 40-60, but now you have more than 50% of or even 100% of it. So tell us, how does it work for you, as a marketing mix at Carzonrent?
So for us, like I said, almost our entire budget for marketing, in fact, I would say about 80% of our budget is through the digital channels. We do not, in fact, believe that our customer is sitting and reading the physical newspaper or is watching television. Now, back in the day, we have used traditional mediums. And also because we are catering to a B2B audience, we need to be able to reach them where they are. So we need to be able to be part of the right conversations, right? We need to be able to talk to them when the decisions on policy are getting made. So I think that's the kind of conversation that we do. We also consistently now create a lot of analysis of the data. I believe that one of the most important things that's happening today, and that is a significant change that we want to build in our brand as well, is we today capture a lot of data of our customers, of their movements. While we keep it significantly protected, and it follows all the guidelines of data protection, etc. But it's also a data that helps us respond to the customer or give them the right kind of information. And I think that's what we want to continuously keep on doing. The fact that we are able to release white papers for organizations to be able to build their policies. For example, one of the things that we are very, very gung-ho about now, and we're working really closely with a lot of our partners now, is the idea of creating carbon emission saving reports and helping organizations offset their carbon emissions. Because car renters is a big consumption of carbon, data, of carbon emissions for or any kind of organizations, and that's something that we are now trying to build as well. So we create those kind of differentiations as well for the organization.
What, according to you, is the big buzz as far as the world of advertising and marketing is concerned?
Everything, the big buzz right now is AI, right? There is
what in AI?
What in AI? Oh, so for us, I think...
Tell us, how do you use AI for your marketing on a daily? What kind of tools do you use?
Well, we have been using a lot of concepts that are today being called AI, which is, so for me, AI is to be able to feed into a system and help it learn such that it can give you valuable and more correct information. Because we have been collecting data about the kind of parking information that is available in the country, the kind of routes that are correct in the country, the way signatures need to be captured, what kind of bills work for various organizations, how to correctly be able to pass on that information to the customer. These are things where we use a lot of it. We also, a lot of our customers today still use traditional mediums of communication, such as emails, instead of, the applications that we also provide. So we've now created email reading software solutions as well, so that we can capture everything, put it back into the system, use it correctly as well. Going forward also, we want to create AI agents, which allows our customer to be able to plan their travel better. To be able to help them understand, to have an intuitive system which tells them that, hey, you know what? So you have a Delhi booked. Let me book your flight. Let me book your airport transfers. Yeah. I can't remember the brand that it was, but I think there was one FMCG brand, I think, which launched a campaign about allowing people to have a personalized message about their during Diwali, and which was AI enabled, where I think Shah Rukh Khan or somebody will come and present that message, which was interesting because they were of course putting together different formats of technology, but really creating a more personalized experience for every consumer, so to say. So I think that's very interesting, and for us, that happens on the B2B side, where we are able to really create that personalized experience for the consumer in practical aspects, not just for marketing.
Right.
So,
right. Yeah. Then tell us what, according to you, is overhyped in the world of marketing and advertising and branding, and hence is actually is quite blah.
I think the dependency on still mega events to bring out a brand. The idea that still you need, and I know that cricket is a very important aspect in the country. All sports events are actually extremely important. There are brands that have benefited from it a lot. But I think younger brands today still consider their aim to reach that cricketing or the football event to really be able to position themselves. I think that there's that lacks a certain amount of creativity, and that's why I consider it raw, because I think that's just tried and tested now. I think there's more that can be done now. There's a lot. There are a lot more avenues today. Every product that is being launched in the country today has its own niche, and to be able to reach that through efficient use of data is what I find more interesting than mass marketing.
Okay. Okay. What is the one thing about your job that you love the most? The one thing that every time you wake up in the morning, the one thing that drives you to go do your job?
I get an email every day at 12:30 a.m. Which tells me what are the numbers that we've done for that we've booked for the next morning. And I love looking at that email. And I love that about my job. I love to keep seeing it grow.
What if the numbers are bad?
So, if the numbers are bad, I just,
Won't it spoil your sleep?
No, it won't spoil my sleep. I know we're doing something right. It's going to keep changing. Our numbers are always, we're a business that, I knew, it creates predictability in my mind. I know that if it's a Sunday, my numbers would be lower. I know that if it's Tuesday, I will be doing really well. I know it just builds. I'm somebody who deals with data a lot. I love looking at data. And looking at that number tells me,
holidays
am I right?
are not spared for this.
No, it's just one email. It's okay.
The rest of the... Whatever happens, you check that one email.
I check that one email and I enjoy checking that one email.
What is the one thing...
I've really told you the worst. Now, how will you ask me what I don't like?
That's one of the best answers you ever got on the show for that question, I have to tell you. Okay, and then there's the other question.
Yeah.
What is the one thing about your job that you don't look forward to? You don't use the word hate on the show. So the one thing you detest about your job, the one thing that you don't look forward to?
There is a certain way in which we look at building our organization, and I'm usually not very happy when I'm not building the right team for it. So I'm very particular about building the right kind of people, and therefore I'm constantly interviewing people. I'm constantly, sort of looking for good people and etc. etc. After a point, it gets tiring. After a point, you're just meeting everyone and saying, "Tell me more about yourself. Tell me more about yourself." But also, that's the job of an entrepreneur. That's the job of anybody who's building an organization, that
Meeting people.
That you constantly have to keep finding the right people for the right roles. It gets tiring. I won't say it's the worst thing, but I think it gets tiring after a point to constantly keep looking. But that's also something that's finally building towards a goal, which is that, do I have the most cohesive team? Do I have the most excited team? Do I have, everyone's working for a common goal?
There is a major payoff.
Yes.
But
it's taxing. Yeah. It's taxing. Like, how many cups of coffee can I drink?
Tell us, you've built brands, B2B brands, B2C brand. Where do you see marketing headed in the near future?
I think a lot of personalization, extremely focused, personalized content, a lot of focus on data, hopefully a lot of focus on data. I also feel that while AI is a great buzzword, but I think marketing has the maximum to gain out of it in terms of just and also I feel like the lines between customer experience and marketing are slowly going to merge, and that is going to help marketing really elevate itself in the minds of just becoming the center stage of any business. I have grown as a marketing person. I in fact did my master's in services marketing. Back in the day. From SPJ.
Okay.
And at that point of time, we were just talking about the fact that services marketing is a concept. I think now the lines have to blur up and between this customer experience and marketing itself. And marketing needs to take center stage of businesses. And if that has to happen, it needs to be part of the business. And that's what I see happening with data, with technology, with more more customization of the experience, etc. Which are all, and these are tools that are really coming from the marketing sphere. So yeah, that's what I think.
Today, everybody has low attention spans, for God's sake. How are you getting that consumer/customer's attention is only becoming more and more difficult, isn't it?
Yeah, but I think which is where creating the right community becomes important, right? To be able to say that I have this section of people who enjoy what I produce, and therefore I will be able to create the right product for them because they are telling me what needs to be created. And I think that's what's interesting. That's where marketing takes center stage. There are, and we talk about the fact that at one point in time, coffee used to be a brand that was, most coffee brands or tea brands were owned by people who owned coffee estates and tea estates. Now they're owned by people who collect coffee from everywhere and bring it together. What are they doing? They're creating an experience. Yeah. Our example also, in fact, we do not own any cars at all. And we are a car rental company in all practical purposes. But we're really saying, I need to find the right customer, understand their demand, and then find the right fleet for them. And that's really the match that I need to make. And what can help me with this? Technology and the right kind of marketing.
Right.
So that's really what we're doing.
Fascinating. It's been fascinating having this conversation with you. Sakshi, thank you so much for taking time out to
Very
be
good
here
meeting you.
on
Thank
the
you.
Brand Wireless.
Once. Thank you.